call to order this Transforming Teaching and Learning Committee meeting. This meeting was posted and required by the Texas State Meeting Records Act. And we're going to go right into it. The first item is public comments on agenda topics. Do we have any?
Mr. Chair, there are no requests for public comment for agenda topics.
Thank you. And the first item is to address student well-being. And this is not all. Thank you for being on this week.
Good afternoon, Board of Trustees, Dr. Gonzalez, and senior team. I'd like to begin by emphasizing how impactful it is to be in a district that continually puts mental health awareness at the forefront. And so as we review the district mental health initiatives, we will provide a comprehensive view of the resources that are available to our students. So what you have in front of you is a framework that's a holistic framework of how our approach to assessing our student need, the mental health resources that are available to our students, and of course, the impact on our students and staff. We've also included our community partners to highlight the importance of that partnership with our community to ensure our student success. And with all of our endeavors, we want to ensure that it is aligned to our strategic plan. So here we're looking at Goal 2, our well-rounded graduates, developing a whole child. So as we look at our objectives 2.2 and 2.4, we can see that there is a focus with student connectedness as well as that well-being. So 2.2 is build skills and opportunities to nurture positive interpersonal connections, and 2.4, which is redesign our systems of support to ensure our student well-being. And of course, we want to make sure that all of our goals are specific and measurable. So as we begin to delve in and continue to look at how we assess our student needs, that's very important and always at the forefront. We also want to look at our existing and potentially new mental health resources for our students, and of course, always measuring that impact on our students and staff. So as we look at assessing our student need, we understand the importance of the quantitative as well as the qualitative data. So we began with our district student wellness committee, which was comprised of students, teachers, counselors, administrators, senior team, and we were also able to fold in community members as well as parents. And so they provided an extremely excellent understanding of what our student needs. We also engaged with our student advisory board, which was comprised of students that represent all of our secondary campuses, and they also provided excellent resources as far as what it was that they were needing, as far as the feedback as well. We looked at student and staff surveys. We analyzed our crisis intervention data as well as our threat assessment data. We looked at our campus crisis support procedures, and of course the existing resources and interventions. So through all of this assessment, we developed a tiered approach that is also multifaceted, because we understand that we do want to have those tiered services for our students, but we want to envelope as many layers as possible so that we can capture and reach as many students as possible. So we always begin with our school counselors, which of course are at all of our campuses. Our counselors serve an excellent and very important role in providing that guidance and counseling for our students. They also provide and make sure that the students are learning those social-emotional competencies and those life skills that they're going to need to be able to face any struggles moving forward. So they do an excellent job with that as well. We've also streamlined our counselors' role to ensure that they have the opportunity to provide those services to our students. So we began tracking our counselors' time as per Senate Bill 179 to ensure that at least 80% of our counselors' roles do align with the Texas model for the comprehensive school counseling programs. So in order to ensure continuity of services, beginning in the summer of 2022, we started to offer our summer counseling services. So we have school counselors available throughout the summer as well, Monday through Thursday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and they are in our administration annex building. And so this is for any HCISD student. So even through the Beyond the Bell, Summer Milk, or summer school programs, or any other student, they have that opportunity to come during the summer for the counseling services. If students are needing additional counseling, and they want more consistent additional counseling, we also have our licensed professional counselor who's available in the evening mornings from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday. She's also available throughout the summer, which we did begin in the summer of 2022. And again, that is to ensure that continuity of services, because we did see students were seeing her on a regular basis, and we wanted to ensure that they were able to continue those services throughout the summer. So with the school year 22-23, we created 2 new positions, our student wellness specialists. So we have Ms. Angela Topman and Ms. Kathy Stedman, who work alongside Levi and Piper, our emotional support animals. And so their role is to not only capture the students who may not be receiving that additional counseling that they need, so that's also very important because they work collaboratively with the school counselor. So if there are students that need that additional counseling and they're not seeing an outside counselor and they're not seeing our licensed professional counselor, perhaps there are in extracurricular activities in the after school, we understand it's important for our students to be plugged in. So we do provide this service for our students. So they collaborate with the school counselor very closely on those students that have those high needs. If those students are not receiving the services, the counselor is able to refer that student to our student wellness specialist, who are then able to pick up that student as part of their needs flow and provide that consistent counseling care. And of course, that is with consent, with a parent consent as well. Another thing that they do very closely is they are part of our threat assessment team. So they also work with those students to ensure that they receive those counseling services as well as the restorative practices as they return to the campus. Our student wellness specialists do an excellent job with our endeavors as we have that mental health awareness piece in education. So you will often see them at campuses presenting information to students and staff as well. They also utilize our emotional support animals for individual counseling or group counseling as needed by the school or the students. And of course, working very well with our crisis intervention and support, the current wellness programs that we have. They do a phenomenal job with ensuring that they are rolled out with purpose and fidelity. And of course, that community outreach is very important. So we're very honored to be able to partner with UTRGV on 2 specific programs that are specific to mental health. So last year, we began the Texas Child Health Access through telemedicine, also known as TCHAT. And so this program provides telehealth counseling for our students. So essentially, the counselor may refer a student to TCHAT, where they will be able to get those telehealth counseling services, of course, with the parent consent. So every campus is equipped with an iPad docked on a stand, and this is how they facilitate those counseling sessions. So it's either going to be at the campus, but it can also be at home, and it can also be throughout the summer. So they may be able to have counseling sessions with a licensed professional counselor, a psychologist, or even a psychiatrist, depending on the needs of the student. We have also partnered with UTRGV through their Project Mental Health Services, or NHS Access Grant, which allows us to help train school psychology, counseling, and social work graduate students as they work with mental health initiatives at the campuses. So this year, we will be supervising a licensed specialist in school psychology intern, a school counselor intern, and a social worker intern as well. And again, their primary focus is going to be mental health at these campuses. So as we continue our work, we know how important it is to continue to expand our outreach and our reach with our mental health and wellness community partners. We're super honored and blessed to be able to partner with Tropical Texas Behavioral Center, with the Palms Behavioral Health, the Children's Bereavement Center, the Buckner Children and Family Services, the Children's Advocacy Center, and of course the Valley Baptist Legacy Foundation, which was very generous in providing us the grant in order to implement Hope Squad at the secondary campuses and capturing kids' hearts at the elementary. So when we look at the impact on our student, staff, and the community, we understand that it's important to combine those mental health services with that character education piece. So it all works together to really ensure our students are not only well, but successful. So when we look at the focused counseling support, that's the main goal that we have, again, ensuring that students who are needing services are receiving those services. So whether the student is a self-referral or a staff referral or a referral through one of the Hope Squad students or Hope Squad advisors or through an anonymous report, we want to make sure that we are able to reach every student that needs help. And we have seen an increase in referrals from the 21-22 to the 22-23 school year, and this is great because this is showing us that our kids feel more connected and are feel comfortable enough to go to a trusted adult when they are struggling. As we move forward, definitely wanting to strengthen the new and existing wellness programs. Again, looking at our character education programs, which are the foundation for the skills that our students are needing. So of course we have Quaver at the elementary and Character Strong at the secondary. So wanting to ensure that we are, again, rolling out those programs with purpose and fidelity. Again, our mental health awareness and education is always at the forefront. We understand that it's important for our community to know not just what are the resources available in the district, but again, that mental health education piece. And again, very important, strengthening the connectedness for our students. We know that our students need to feel connected to want to come to school so they can be engaged, so they can be successful. And so it all boils down to, do they feel connected? Do they feel like they have a sense of belonging at the campuses? And of course, that will increase attendance and increase that engagement, which is something that is always at the forefront for us. And as we continue our work, we know that supportive and strong community partnerships are very important. We cannot do this alone. We are definitely better together. So looking ahead, again, increasing our awareness of the services that we provide and continuing to measure the impact on our students and our staff. We definitely want to continue that mental health awareness, collaborating with the communications department to get the word out there, collaborating with our family and community engagement department through our Family Plus presentations, which are the mental health presentations that we offer to our students and our parents. Continuing those community engagement events, because this allows us the opportunity to share what we do as a district for our families, with the community as well as with our parents. And of course, as we continue to measure the impact, we will continue to look at surveys, continue to analyze that crisis intervention data, the threat assessment data, to make sure that these efforts are definitely going to be impactful for our students and our staff. So I know that I've spoken a lot about the students and the resources we have for our students here in the district. So at this time, I'd like to hand it over to Dr. Gonzalez, who would like to speak to initiatives for our staff.
I know that one of the things we want to do is raise the emotional quotient of the entire organization. So if you look at all the research behind the emotional quotient and how important it is to make sure that people become the best version of themselves, I think it goes beyond just the student body and every adult in the organization as we focus on self-awareness, self-regulation, utilization, empathy, social skills, so that we can make sure that we become the best versions of ourselves as we work with our children. We want to make sure that every educator in the organization is in touch with their strengths, their weaknesses, is able to regulate their emotions, is able to be motivated, have empathy. And it's one of those things where before I can love you, I have to love me. And before I can have a positive relationship with students, I have to have a positive relationship with me. So we want to put that in a form that is by design, so that we'll be working with the staff and the student body to simultaneously do all we can to raise the emotional quotient. And that's all the work that we had going coming out of Harvard University, along with Talbot and Shahar, all the work. When you look at medicine, the best doctors in the world have the bedside manner equals, they have good emotional intelligence, the best attorneys in the world have the best clients in these cases, the best bankers, the best business people. I think people do business with people they like, and people do business with people that make them feel welcome. And I think that we want to create students that are not only book smart, but people smart and self smart. So I'm excited to be working with Ms. Combo and the entire team to really hone in on what we're going to do to raise the emotional quotient of the entire organization. And I think that's going to separate us on a national level. So we're excited about that and we look forward to the future.
Sounds great. When will we hear more about that?
We're right in the blueprint phase right now. We've been talking, we've had meeting after meeting, we've prepared how we're going to do it. Looking at our instructional program also. So we've been looking at how we're going to value add every student in the organization academically. We're also looking at the psychosocial side, so we'll be keeping the board informed as we progress.
And I'm trying to search for that. I know that a long time ago, I'll find it later on and go back right now. Holdsworth was bringing down the neurologist and approach. I forget what the doctor's name was, but they have nationally they've done interventions in multiple school districts throughout the country. I don't know how much it costs and it's available. I know we talked about it. I'll find it again, search it. But it's something kind of similar, a little bit different, and it really just has to do with intervention with staff about sort of like how the brain works, you know, from the cortex down the brainstem and your needs and this kind of stuff. And it all goes back to the emotional intelligent quotient understanding, you know, that you got to take care of yourself first before you. And when they did those interventions, it was like a couple hour sort of lectures and different things they did project with the teachers to get them to realize like it was really an aha moment, and then the teachers began to understand what their students might be going through, and then having more patience with them, and then getting them to understand that they might be going through issues at home and elsewhere, and they get to take care of their base needs, whether it's hunger or this or that, or other kind of things. And so what they saw was when they did those interventions, the referrals went down to almost zero. They went down to almost zero, right? Just understanding these kinds of concepts and their performance, because now they were getting met with acceptance and love and hugs from the teachers instead of just like, I'm tired of this crap, like go to the principal's office or you have detention again, right? And so anyway, I'll get you that too, because I mean, I think we're all we're all in agreement with what you just said in terms of emotional intelligence, emotional quotient. But I think whatever more we can do to sort of bring the awareness of let's take care of our people. We can't take care of our customers unless we take care of our people, right? I mean, it's a simple kind of concept, right? You can't provide good quality services or take care of your customers, which are our students and our parents and the community, unless we can take care of our people. And so, really applaud us moving in this direction. It's a big deal.
We talked extensively about that, and on top of the psychosocial perspective with regards to health, also the physical fitness side of it. So really working as adults, put the systems and processes in place to be as physically fit as possible. Whatever that means to each individual in isolation. Age is just a number when it comes to physical fitness. We're all at different levels, but I think that if we make a conscious effort to eat right and exercise, and then work on the psychosocial side, it's almost putting ourselves first so that we can take care of the kids. That's something that's going to be important as we move on to the next chapter in this journey. So we're excited for it.
Good stuff.
I'll have a quick comment on this topic. I've been looking forward to today's topic for a while. I knew it was going to come soon. I get past 4 minutes here. And I'll tell you that I know it looks great. I got a haircut today. After the how's it going, we talked about mental health. That was what she wanted to talk about. And the whole place. I mean, this is what's on everyone's mind in this town. And so, it's great to see where we are with our counselors on all campuses, Mrs. Cruz. We've got Angela and Kathy. And so we've got these areas of detailed medicine. And so my question is that enough? How are you on capacity? Are you able to see every child that needs to be seen? So I'll depend on you. You're the expert. How do you feel? Do you need more support, or are we good?
Well, we have seen that increase in referrals, and like I said, that is a good first step, because that's showing that our students now are feeling connected and they're needing that care. I can always say that there's always work to be done, and there's always layers that we want to provide in place for our students. Currently we are able to reach all of our students, but we do feel like that influx of kids coming in needing that assistance. With the mental health awareness piece as well, people are more apt to talk about things, and I think that's a very big defining difference in where we're at, trying to ensure that our community feels comfortable talking about these issues, and I think that will allow them to, again, come forward and ask for the help that they're needing.
Well, I trust that any support that we can give, you'll let us know. Had lots of great feedback on dogs and the angels.
There's another one at Bella. Is there another one at Bella also? Emotional support?
I believe that might be for staff now, but there is one at Gano right now. They have Ike the Pug and Gano, so they're kind of keeping them under wraps because Levi and Piper were at Gano. We kind of pulled them to the district level, so now they've got another emotional support animal. And of course, Levi and Piper did make an appearance. We cannot discuss mental health support this amazing team that's here, that we understand that you guys definitely, as Dr. Gonzalez said, it's important for us to take care of ourselves so that we can be better for others.
Another question on the dog topic. We got a question from somebody in the community. I thought it was a good question. I'm asking here, and then maybe we can circle back, say it's worth it or not. But for like the big high schools, would it make sense to have those trained dogs? I don't know how expensive they are or whatever, but have those trained police dogs to where they can smell, ammunition, guns, drugs, things like that. You know what I mean? I don't know what the cost structure is. I don't know if it makes sense or not. But that's a whole nother level of safety. If you have a dog like that, these big campuses, they're just going around. They're friendly, they're pretty cool. They're just known for certain things. But I just, something to look into. I'm just curious. I don't know what the cost is for those things.
They are very effective. They range around $9,000 to $12,000, and they are great deterrents. They don't pick up so much on the bait yet, but they do pick up on other substances. So it is a good deterrent.
Is that something that you've had experience with?
Yes.
Well, I think at least this one board member is interested just to kind of follow up with that just to see. I think it makes sense. Because anything to increase, I think, safety, and it would make sense, obviously, at the high schools.
And we do have a canine officer that has a dog that will go and we'll schedule different visits here and there. He's not stationed at a campus. And so lessons learned from our last time that we had these two lovely little additions is that whenever we started taking pictures and we forgot about the rest of the agenda, someone asked Dr. Bettis if he's okay if we talk about future topics for our meetings.
Oh, we didn't know.
And then we can, because everybody wants to jump to the puppy dog.
I think it's his meeting, but I will say these topics are especially important, especially because Dr. Gonzalez has already promised us a 20% increase in enrollment over the next few years.
I got 3 in today.
Gotta start small. Gotta start somewhere.
May I ask just one question? Building up on what Mr. Leon said about people are talking about mental health much more openly, and they think of a benefit from COVID, that certainly would be one, right? We're not all hiding what we're feeling, et cetera. And so taking advantage of that to set new norms, right? To put in the systems in place so that it's just natural for these things to happen. Otherwise, to hear that, and or that we can continue to provide that way so that it's fine. It's part of, just like I can talk about whatever exercise, I can talk about my mental health, all health. My question was on the threat assessment piece of the many components that you do. And maybe it's great, but I never hear about threats and threat assessments and whatever, right? In some ways, that's comforting. I never hear that, it must be fine. But I guess what I'm asking is it working? Meaning, are we identifying threats? We're working with kids. We're doing that. Like, I don't hear anything, and that's probably just because I'm not asking the question, so that's not a complaint. But I do think, we should be. It's like, I hope you're identifying threats.
Absolutely.
That, right? That means we're deterring something. So.
Yes, the 3 of us are part of the threat assessment team, so we work very closely with Danny Castillo and his office to be able to review all of the students that come through the threat assessment review. And our task is to ensure that we wrap around those counseling services, that student is receiving either follow-ups or counseling, depending on the level, the committee reviews and views for that student. We also make sure that those restorative practices are in place, because that student will eventually be going back to the campus. So we want to make sure that they are also provided support as they return to the campus, and that continued follow-up. So that's one of the major roles of our student wellness specialists, and I thank you for asking that question.
Any other questions? Thank you. Outstanding program, and thank you for involving so many entities and parents and organizations in town. UTRGV Commission, I think you told me last week that that's a lot of the kids are telling.
Yes, we are utilizing TCHAT quite a bit.
Thank you so much. future topics?
Yes, sir. So we have a couple of topics that we're wanting to bring to you next month. We are ready to launch our strategic plan, officially launch our strategic plan. In working with Dr. Gonzalez as he's transitioning in, we want to make sure that we identify priorities for year one of that plan and bring them to this committee next month. Just let you know a little bit about what we do with the target for all of our innovation pods. And then the other big thing that happens in October is that we come forward with the district improvement plan and all of our campus improvement plans. And so we want to give you a little bit of a snippet as to what that process looks like. We bring them forward every year. And so this next month, I want to give you a little glimpse of how do we get there? What does that mean to have a true needs assessment? What does that process look like? And that way that'll prep you for the following week whenever we bring our plans forward. So those are the two topics that we have on there.
Anything else? Well, we stand adjourned.